Hello and welcome to today's meeting. Thank you for tuning in. My name is William Rapp, owner of exclusiveannuities.com, an educational platform and an advisory that helps you dictate which type of annuities might be the best fit during your retirement journey. We are licensed in all 50 states. And if you ever want to speak with us, make sure you check out our website. That is exclusiveannuities.com. Always feel free to check us out here. Feel free to schedule a meeting. My name is William, owner and president of Exclusive Annuities. Always like to show who we are, where you can find us. Again, William, Brady Pelzer, executive vice president, senior advisor Patrick Esposito, senior advisor Dylan Bangs. Feel free to schedule meetings with us at any time if you're looking at different contracts, different annuities that you might have questions about. Maybe they weren't as clear as they should have been when you were going through illustrations or being presented or meeting with a different advisor that might have been recommending a certain annuity. We have people come through all the time to get simply a second opinion and go through contract details that might have been left out during that process. So we do work with over 65 different annuity carriers nationwide. We are A-rated or 5 stars on Google, and we're also 100% recommended on Facebook. You can always go to our channel right here. We post a lot of educational material, content, strategies that we like to implement with our clients during our review sessions. Again, it's a no obligation review session. If you would like to speak with us, the way you can do that is go right here to the website, go right to the top and click Speak to an Advisor Now. Bring you right to our calendar and feel free to schedule a time with us. And our YouTube and Facebook channels filled with content. Always feel free to check us out there. And our review tab, like I mentioned, 100% recommended. You can go through all the different reviews and read other people's comments on working with us specifically. And from there, you can always go down to the website and click on our YouTube channel, which I'm assuming you are on right now. Make sure that you click like, subscribe, share to your favorite videos, your favorite channel, Exclusive Annuity Solutions. And that's us, right? So like I said, licensed in all 50 states, independent advisory. And today, what I'm going to be going over is what's called the trigger concept, right? S&P 500 trigger concept, and very interesting concept in the indexed annuity space, right? Now, when you go into these contracts, if you're looking at accumulation-based vehicles, we like to look for strong contracts for our clients. Now, we believe this is a very strong contract, as you see here. This is a 10-year contract, fixed index annuity, 10% free withdrawals every year, no fees, right? And it's an S&P 500 trigger. What's that mean? That means when you enter the contract, the annuity credits annually, okay? So it credits annually based on S&P 500 performance. Now, if the S&P 500 is flat or negative, you can never get less than a 0% earning that year. That's why you purchase an annuity, right? Or a fixed index annuity. Now, when the S&P is positive, you get earnings to your principal, and you get a step up in principal when the earnings post and lock to your account. Now, this is a very interesting concept. This is called an S&P 500 trigger, okay? Now, the trigger in this example is 8.25. And what that means is the S&P 500 only has to be 0.00001 in the positive in order for you to get the specified trigger rate. Now, only has to be a fraction in the positive during that annual point-to-point interval, and they'll trigger you the 8.25% return to your principal for that year, right? Very strong concept we like here. So if you look at the ledger, you'll see a hypothetical look back from 2010 to 2025. How often did the S&P trigger hit on the performance of the account? Well, it looks like here, right, we hit the first year, and this is an example off $1 million. I really like this for the higher net worth clients or the people that are trying to move 500 to a million roughly in an annuity, because it's such a clean concept, right? Such a clean concept to implement because it's predictable. You know, you're using the S&P 500. It only has to be a fraction in the positive to get the specified trigger rate. There's no fees. It comes in a 5, 7, or 10-year chassis, and there's 10% free withdrawal. So we really like this during the distribution phase of retirement. As you see here, the $1 million goes into the annuity. The first year we hit the trigger, they got a step up in principal, right? So the $1 million account went to 1,082,500. We hit it the second year, right? It's a little more this year because we're growing off a new principal amount. Now the new principal amount each year goes up. You can never go below that as long as you're not taking free withdrawals, right? Once you get to that new principal amount, and it posts and locks the earnings, okay? Now, if you look to the next year, we're hitting the trigger almost every year, and this is actual S&P 500 look back data, right? So it's not any newer indexes, it's the S&P 500. So we hit 8.25, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. That brought the principal, right, to 1.4 plus million. The only time from 2010 to 2025 that we didn't hit the trigger, right, was literally 2 times, right? Other than that, we hit it almost pretty much every single year. So you can see, you go into a 10-year contract here, you start at year 1, you're out of the contract at year 10, right? You'd roughly doubled the asset, right? Or a little more than doubled the asset, little less than doubled the asset over that specified term period. So very strong concept. There's a few contracts out there that have it. This one is the highest, right? And you can see that 80% of the time it works, right? So S&P triggers usually 4 out of every 5 years. That's an 80% probability there for the S&P 500 trigger. And if I go to the other page, right, we can look at variations of how it performs over different time frames. So here's an example of 1995 to 2005, and you can see that the trigger hit 7 out of 10 years, right? So $1 million placed in the contract. We specified the 8.25% trigger, and the $1 million after 10 years turned to 1.7 million. No risk to principal. That's why you buy the index annuity. The guarantee is in the principal protection, but contracts like this work well too, you know, on the growth and distribution model. When you're actively taking income off your assets, you want to do so in a principally protected fashion. So there is that 10-year look back from 1995 to 2005, right? And then you have hypothetical from 1999 to 2009, same concept. We hit it 7 out of the 10 years that it ran, okay? Oh, excuse me, 1, 2, 3. So we hit it 6 out of the 10 years, right? And in this example, we annualized at 4.87. We turned the account to 1.6 million over that time frame. So very strong concept there with the S&P 500 trigger. This was a quick tutorial on how that works. There's different contracts and variations of growth-based annuities that we can dive into more on a strategy session. And we really appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, if you need to speak with us or get a customized report, or you're curious on how an annuity might fit in your portfolio, make sure that you go ahead and schedule a call on exclusiveannuities.com. Again, my name is William. We look forward to helping you, guiding you, and helping you prosper during your retirement process. We'll see you on the next one.